Hello and welcome back to this YouTube channel. So today we are going to take the part 9 of the current affairs of Indian economy. If you are the first time visitor, so I would like to share some information with you guys that the motive of this lecture is not about the clarification of concepts. You should remember that one thing. Second, the main objective of it is to share as much information with you before your prelims exams. And third, which is the most important thing, is for 2025 UPSC exam, we are going to start the online initiative, which would be here, in which we would take the static part, which would include almost every subject which is important for your prelims, especially polity, economy, history, geography, science and tech, and international relations. We will discuss them in detail. Every day we will upload one video regard. First we would complete polity, then after the other subjects. And second thing, we will also start from 1st of July. We would start the daily news analysis, which would comprise of the news from Hindu news paper and the Indian Express. We would extract the news, and we would take the information from them and deliver them here in a topic wise discussion, how that would be important for our prelims and mains. Then the third, which is the most important of these them, which is we would every day we would start uploading the daily quiz analysis discussions, in which we would discuss at least 10 to 15 questions every day from the 1st of July only, in which we would discuss 5 questions which would be related to the static part which we would teach. Second, we would discuss the 5 questions related to international, related to the current affairs. And the third, we would discuss 5 questions from last year's question papers from 1995 till 2024. So, uh, guys, if you are still with me right now, please do subscribe to this channel and stay with me. Trust me, this will be very much beneficial for you. We will take up every subject, and every concept will be cleared here, and every important topics would be cleared. That is the surety which we are giving to you. Now, without wasting any time, let's come to the topic itself. It is about the digital public infrastructure. We should know why it was in news, as here we can see that Prime Minister announced the launch of two India-led initiatives. One is the Global Digital Infrastructure Repository and a Social Impact Fund during virtual G20 Leaders Summit. About Global Digital Public Infrastructure Repository, GDPIR is one of the three digital public infrastructure deliverables that were endorsed by the G20 New Delhi Leaders Declaration. Other two deliverables include a framework for building DPI and mobilizing finances for DPI development in low and middle income countries. So today's discussion would be regarding the DPIs, which is digital public infrastructure. Here we could see that on in G20's Leaders Summit, PM announced the launch of two India-led initiatives. One is GDPIR and another is the Social Impact Fund. About Global Digital Public Infrastructure Repository, we can see it is developed by the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology. Its aim is to bridge the knowledge gap in the choices and methodologies required for the design, construction, deployment, and governance of DPIs, which is digital public infrastructure. And also constituents GDPIR showcase the information in a standardized format, from countries and organizations that have developed DPIs at scale, incorporating elements such as maturity scales, source codes, and a governance framework. Currently, GDPR features 54 DPIs from 16 countries. About social impact fund, its aim is to env- envision it as a government-led multi-stakeholder initiative to fast-track DPI implementation in the global south. It is envisioned as government-led multi-stakeholder initiative to fast-track DPI implementation in the global south, which is usually referred to the developing countries. It offers a platform for all the relevant stakeholders to contribute to this fund and help accelerate the achievements of the Sustainable Development Goals in LMCs through DPIs. Also, funding India has pledged an initial commitment of 25 million USD to social impact fund. Also, this fund will offer financial support to provide upstream technology and non-technical assistance to countries in developing DPI system. About digital infrastructure, we should know that it enables remote paperless presence-less service delivery, reducing cost and increasing access, and also in digital railroads. About public governance and accountability to people. It provides it is best for public interest and government's inclusiveness. Also, in infrastructure, it is enabler for a national scale innovation, acts as building block for large scale development of digital solutions. Ecosystems led implementation. DPI can be private sector led or public private led or public sector led. Also, ecosystem level impact can be leveraged in public and private domains. About the pillars of DPI, we can see it here. It is open, interoperable, extensible, and scalable technology, robust governance framework with a transparent legal framework, data protection mechanism, grievance redressal, and protection of the intellectual property. Also, resilient local ecosystems, eliminating economic, technical, or social barriers, ensuring community participation and sustainability. Also, foundational elements. A strong DPI has three foundational elements: identity, payments, and data exchange. India's DPI architecture, known as India Stock, consists of Aadhaar Identity UPI and Aadhaar-enabled payment systems, and DigiLocker and account aggregator data exchange. These are the pillars of the DPI. Now, what is the India's role in promoting DPI at global level? We have Identity System International Institute of Information Technology in Bangalore. They launched the modular open source identity platform to help other countries set up other like systems. So such questions may come in exam, that modular open source identity platform, it is the initiative of which we should know information technology in Bangalore, IIT Institute of Information Technology in Bangalore. Bangalore also more than 10 countries from Sri Lanka to Sierra Leone have initiated a modular open source identity platform project so far. Also, we could see that payment linkages. India has signed agreements with various nations to extend the reach of its UPI payment systems like Singapore, Malaysia, UAE, France, and other countries. Also, G20 consensus. Under India's presidency, G20 leaders arrived at a consensus regarding promotion and adoption of DPI framework. Alternative model. India's DPI offers an alternative model to the traditional big tech approach, emphasizing public ownership and control of critical infrastructure. Also, we could see here One Future Alliance. India proposed One Future Alliance for building capacity and providing technical assistance and funding support for implementing DPI in LMICs. Also, we could see here open source infrastructure. India's commitment to open source technology has prevented the privatization of critical infrastructure, and fostered innovation which enables their flexible adoption and at global scale. What is the global debt of developing countries? This is the next topic which we have to discuss. Why it was in news? Here we could see that Sri Lanka faces an unsustainable debt and a severe balance of payment crisis, which highlighted the issue of growing debt of developing countries. We should, I assume that you know the balance of payment crisis. You know about all this stuff about what debt is, what balance of payment crisis is. If we would start defining these terms, then a single topic which we discuss here will take almost 1 to 2 hours. So, the motive why I told you earlier that the motive of this, these videos is to share the information, to be precise. If you are here to get your concepts cleared, then you have to wait for 1st July when we will start the initiative where we will clear every concept. About the topic growing debt of developing countries, we have developing countries often incur debt to fund large-scale infrastructure projects such as roads, bridges, and power plants to stimulate economic growth. In a recent United Nations report, A World of Debt, a growing burden to global prosperity, finds global public debt reached an all-time high of 92 trillion in 2022 from 17 trillion since 2000. We could see here in 2000 it was 17 trillion only the global debt. Now it is 92 trillion. If you are aware about the news recently, it was framed that India could also get the 100% of their GDP as the global debt, as the you know GDP to debt ratio. It would exceed the 100%. You know. So moving forward, we have higher costs of funds when developing countries borrow money. They have to pay much high interest rates than developed countries. When we buy from IMF, we have different. When we borrow from IMF, we have different policies. From World Banks, they treat developing countries in a different way and developed countries in different way. Also, more resources to pay interest. Currently, half of developing countries devote more than 1.5% of their GDP and 6.9% of their government revenues to interest payments, a sharp increase over the last decade. Also, relying on private creditors, developing nations have uh, markedly raised market-driven borrowings from private creditors like bondholders and banks opting for commercial terms. Also, this shift contrasts with the traditional reliance on multilateral institutions for official credit. Issue in debt restructuring. Outsider creditors avoid debt restructuring of a country in crisis. Poor debt management and low government revenues. It is mainly due to inefficient tax policies and weakness in the rule of law and are among the internal causes. About here, data bank, we can see that 30% of the global public debt is held by developing countries, of which 70% is represented by China, India, and Brazil itself. We could see that 60% is the total public debt to GDP of developing countries in 2021, an increase of 35%. Also, 59 developed countries face a debt to GDP ratio above 60%, a threshold indicating high levels of debt. So this was the concern raised by many critics of the government that our debt to GDP ratio is also rising, the percentage is also rising, but the finance minister, they gave the different answer to it. So I hope you had studied about that. What are the global initiatives to solve debt crisis in developing countries? We have role of IMF. The IMF is helping countries address large financing needs to prevent debt crisis, or for countries already in debt distress to restore economic and financial stability. They frame some rules. It is equal. I would say in the layman's term that if you borrow from IMF, then you have to sell your country to them. You have to sell the foreign policy to them. Then also Global Sovereign Debt Roundtable launched in Feb 2023 by the IMF in coordination with the World Bank. We should know about that. And India's G20 presidency, the GSDR, brings together key stakeholders involved in sovereign debt restructuring to foster consensus on debt and debt restructuring challenges and how to address them. Then we have debt management and financial analysis system program of UNCDAT. The development objectives of the debt management and financial analysis system program is to strengthen the government's capacity to manage its debt effectively and sustainably. Also, heavily indebted poor countries initiative, the IMF and World Bank launched the HIPC, which is Heavily Indebted Poor Countries Initiative in 1996 to ensure that no poor country faces an unmanaged debt burden. So here are a few catches which we should know. One is the HIPC. It is the initiative of whom? It is initiative of World Bank and the IMF. Then we should know about the Global Sovereign Debt Roundtable. It was launched in 2023 by the IMF in coordination with the World Bank and India's G20 presidency. These are a few catches from this slide which we should know. About now exchange rate management in India. This is the third topic which we have to discuss today. Indian rupees valuation against currencies of major trading partners has surged to a near two-year high on central bank intervention and elevated domestic inflation. What is currency valuation? It refers to the process of determining the relative worth or value of one currency in terms of the another. It is influenced by several factors including interest rates, inflation, capital flow, and money supply. The most common method to value currency is through exchange rate, and exchange rate represents the value of one currency in terms of another. For example, if the exchange rate for USD to INR is 80, you can exchange 1 USD for 80 Indian rupees. So it basically refers to the value of a currency with respect to the another currency. You know, let's discuss more about it. There are some points which I want to share with you about methods of exchange rate determination. Here we could see we have one method is fixed exchange rates. Here the value of a currency is pegged or fixed to the value of another currency, a basket of currencies, or a commodity like gold. Then we have central banks actively intervene to maintain the fixed rate. And then we have flexible exchange rates, also known as floating exchange rates. The exchange rate is determined by the forces of the market, that is demand and supply of currency in international markets. So we have two ways: one is fixed and flexible. Then we have managed exchange rates. In flexible exchange rates, central bank does not intervene directly to affect the level of the exchange rate. Then we have managed exchange rates. It is a system where a currency's value is primarily determined by market forces, but central banks may occasionally intervene to stabilize or influence the exchange rates. About the foreign exchange market and exchange rates, we had fixed exchange rate era. It was from 1947 to 75. We could say from 1947 to 71. Here rupees external par value was fixed in terms of gold, with the pound sterling as the intervention currency. Then in 1971, breakdown of the Bretton Woods system and flotation of major currencies, the rupee was linked to the pound sterling in December 1971, and also in 1975 the rupee was pegged to a basket of currencies. Currency selection and weight assignment was left to the discretion of RBI and not publicly announced. Then we have balance of payment crisis in 1991. Then we start a floating exchange era in 1991 and to the pegged exchange rate regime. Then in 1992, liberalized exchange rate management system was put in place, and in 1993, market determined exchange rate regime was introduced. So we could say that from 1993, the market determined exchange rate it was introduced. Moving forward, we have exchange rate determination in India in Here we could see that since 1993, several mechanisms have been tried to effectively capture the market dynamics. We have nominal effective exchange rate and the real effective exchange rate. Here, in nominal effective exchange rate, it is a measure of value of current country's currency against a basket of other currencies, taking in account exchange rates with its major trading partners. It is weighted average of bilateral exchange rates where the weights reflect the importance of each trading partner in a country's overall trading, and in this it does not account for differences in prices if inflation is not adjusted in the nominal effective exchange rate. In the real effective exchange rate, it measures the value of current country's currency against a basket of other currencies adjusted for different differences in price levels or inflation rates between the home country and its trading partners. It provides a more accurate reflection of a currency's purchasing power in the international market. Moving forward, we have the inconsistent trinity. Here we have free capital flow, we have fixed exchange rate, and we have sovereign monetary policy. At a certain time, country could have a combination of only two of these three conditions. A country could have only two of these conditions. For example, if India has fixed exchange rate and allows free capital flows, then it has to use its monetary policies to maintain the exchange rate, so it is not sovereign anymore. Now, the next topic of today's discussion is the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code 2016. About Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code of India, it was proposed reforms to make the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code process more transparent, review the work progress of the corporate insolvency resolution process by the committee of creditors. Then we have resolution professionals should be mandated to conduct the meetings of the committee of creditors every month. We have standardize the valuation methodologies to streamline the resolution and prevent a delay in the implementation. Resolution plans may adopt a two-part structure. Then we have part A of the resolution plan shall deal with the inflow, that is payment under the resolution plan, payment of insolvency resolution process costs and others. In part B, we deal with distribution to the various stakeholders, and also clarity in minimum entitlement to dissenting financial creditors. About IBC, it consolidated and amended the laws relating to reorganization and insolvency resolution of corporate partnership firms and individuals or persons. The corporate insolvency resolution process is a recovery mechanism for the creditors of a corporate debtor. It ensures resolution in a time-bound manner for maximization of the value of assets. It provides an exit mechanism for a corporate person that has not defaulted through a voluntary liquidation process. Pillars of the IBC ecosystem: we have Insolvency and Bankruptcy Board of India. It is responsible for implementing the IBC. It performs quasi legislative, executive, and quasi judicial functions simultaneously. Then we have Adjudicating Authority. The National Company Law Tribunal shall be the adjudicating authority for the insolvency resolution and liquidation process of a corporate person, and Debt Recovery Tribunal or for individuals and partnerships. Then we have appeals for the order of NCLT. The National Company Law Tribunal shall lie to the National Company Law Appellate Tribunal. Then we have insolvency professional, a specialized cadre of professionals enrolled as a member in an IPA and registered with the board. Those professionals will administer the resolution process, manage the assets of the debtor, and provide information for creditors to assist them in decision making. Then we have Insolvency Professional Agency. It is responsible for the professional development of IPs It will certify the insolvency professionals and enforce a code of conduct for their performance as per their bylaws. Then we have information utilities. Information utility collates, authenticates, and disseminates financial information from any person, including the financial and operational creditors of companies. Here are some things we should know about insolvency. It is the situation when an individual or company can no longer meet their financial obligations to lenders as debts become due. Then bankruptcy, it is a legal proceeding initiated when a person or business is unable to repay outstanding debts or obligations. Then we have haircut. A haircut is a debt foregone by the lender or a share of the outstanding claim. What is the significance of IBC time value of money? The code necessitates resolution in a time-bound manner, as excessive delay is most likely to diminish the organizational capital of the economy. Then we have freeing up economic resources for a circular economy. The code provides a mechanism for a company to exist with the least disruption and cost and release idle resources in an orderly manner. Then we have improved credit culture. IBC has improved credit culture in India by resolving a significant amount of stressed assets with the better recovery rates compared with the previous mechanisms such as the Debt Recovery Tribunal, the, the Sarfaraz Act 2002 and the Lok Adalat. Other mechanisms had an average recovery rate of 5%. In terms of the value, it has helped resolve 3.16 lakh crore of debt stuck in 808 cases in the past 7 years. Also, improve ease of doing business. It has helped in attracting more foreign direct investment in the country. It has promoted the interest of small investors. Now, the next topic of today's discussion is the PM Gati Shakti initiative. About PM Gati Shakti initiative, it got its inception in October 2021. PM Gati Shakti, it targets by 2025 we have roads national highway network to be 2 lakh kilometers. Then we have railways increased cargo handling capacity to 16 hundred MMT. Then we have airports, 220 new airports, heliports, and water aerodromes. Then imports total cargo capacity to be achieved 1759 MMT per annum. Then we have renewable energy 225 gigawatts. Then we have telecommunication total 2.6 lakh gram panchayat to be connected. Then we have total length of gas pipelines to be built, which is 34,500 kilometers. About Gati Shakti Plan, PM Gati Shakti National Master Plan is aimed to provide multimodal connectivity infrastructure to various economic zones of India. Economic zones refers to a cluster where any economic activity in the form of manufacturing or value addition service or other service is being carried out. Objectives of the plan to incorporate economic zones like textile clusters, pharmaceutical clusters, defense corridors, electronic parks, etc. Also to set up a unified portal that would bring 16 ministries, including railways and roadways together. Its primary focus is strategic planning, innovation, financing methods, leveraging implementation process, technology, and expediting. Then we have its scope. It will encompass the 7 engines, roads, railways, airports, ports, mass transport, waterways, and logistics infrastructure of the national infrastructure pipeline. Here are the 6 pillars of PM Gati Shakti initiative. We have comprehensive integrating all existing or planned initiatives of various ministries. Then we have prioritization, enabling prioritization of projects through cross sectorial interaction. Then we have optimization, assist different ministries in planning for a modification or expansion, often identification of critical gaps. Then we have synchronization by ensuring coordination of work between departments to reduce delays and clashes. Then we have analytical, provide the entire data in one place with the GIS-based spatial planning and analytical tool. Then we had in dynamic identify the vital interventions for enhancing and updating the master plan of departments. And sorry, I had forgot to edit this screen here, but I would read it out for you guys. So about Rapid Transit System RRTS project, recently the first regional rapid transit system was launched in India with Namo Bharat Rapid X train, completing a 17-kilometer stretch from Sahibabad to Duhai Debut in Uttar Pradesh. So this is about Delhi RRTS project. Here we could see that how does it interlink different places from here we can see Ghazi Abad Meerut to Avar. Then we have it is interlinked with Panipat. Here we have the green line which interlinks different places in Uttar Pradesh, Rajasthan, and uh, in the Haryana, in the NCT Delhi region. So let us discuss about the rapid transit system project. About rapid transit system project, it is a new dedicated high-speed, high-capacity, comfortable computer service connecting regional nodes in NCR. It is a part of India's efforts to enhance urban transportation and address the challenges of increasing population and urbanization. These will operate at a speed of 160 km per hour but are designed to be able to run at speeds up to 180 km per hour. They are different from metro and Indian rails. RRTS is different from the metro as it caters to passengers looking to travel relatively longer distances with fewer stops and at higher speeds. RRTs is different from conventional rails too as it will provide reliable high frequency point to point regional travel at high speed along a dedicated pathway. And also National Capital Region Transport Corporation is responsible for implementing the RRTS in the National Capital Region. About National Capital Region Transport Corporation, we should note that it was incorporated in 2013 as a joint venture company of Government of India and the states of Delhi, Haryana, Rajasthan, and UP. It is under the administrative control of the Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs. Its purpose is to implement the regional rapid transit system project across the NCR of Delhi. Compositions we have Secretary Urban Affairs Department is the ex-officio chairman of the board of directors. Then we have managing director and nominee of the Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs and one nominated director each from the participating state and four nominee directors from the government of India. About functioning and responsibility, it is functioning in designing, developing, implementing, financing, operating, and maintaining RRTS. Then we have ensuring balanced and sustainable urban development through better connectivity and access. Moving forward, we had dedicated freight corridors. The Eastern Dedicated Freight Corridor has been completed fully in October 2023. It is a railway corridor designed for the rapid and efficient transportation of goods and commodities, characterized by high speed and high capacity. Its aim is to decongesting India's railways network by separating freight traffic from passenger traffic on the railway network. Also implementing agency is a dedicated freight corridor corporation of India Limited. It is a wholly owned enterprise of the Ministry of Railways set up in 2006 for the construction, maintenance and operation of DFCs, dedicated freight corridor. About the project map, here we could see the blue line where it is funded by this project is funded by Japan International Cooperation Agency. We could see the different connecting points from Dadri to Sananad and Sanana to Makarpura, then Makarpura to New Golwa, then New Golwa to Vetarna, then Vetarna to JNPT. proposed new corridors. We have corridor East Coast Corridor, which is from Kharagpur to Vijayawada. Then we have East West Sub Corridor 1, which is Palghar to Dankuni. Then East West Sub Corridor 2, which is from Rajkhar Sawan to Andai. Then we have North South Sub Corridor, which is Vijayawada to Itarsi. It is 2513 kilometer commissioned with 84% of approved, 2843 RKM. Now, the next topic of today's discussion is Central Electricity Authority. I had forgot to edit these screens. I'm really sorry for that. Here we should know why it is in the news. On October 15th, 2023, the Central Electricity Authority celebrated its 50th Foundation Day. So, about Central Electricity Authority, it is a statutory organization under Electricity Act 2003. It comes under the Ministry of Power, originally constituted under Section 3(1) of repealed Electricity Supply Act 1948. In 1951, established as part-time body and made full-time body in 1975, superseded by Section 70 of Electricity Act 2003. Its objective is to regulate and oversee the development of the electricity sector in the country, to ensure reliable 24 by 7 power supply of adequate quality to all consumers in the country. About composition, not more than 14 members, including its chairperson, not more than 8 full-time members to be appointed by the central government. Function and responsibility: advise the central government on national electricity policy, specify the technical standards for electric plants and electric lines, specify the conditions for installation of meters. Then we have promote measures for advancing the skills of persons engaged in the electricity industry, then promote and assist in the timely completion of schemes and projects. These are its functions and responsibilities. Now let's come to the next topic. It is about the maritime sector. We could see that the third edition of the Global Maritime India Summit 2023 was hosted in Mumbai. At the summit, Maritime Amrit Kal Vision 2047, prepared by Ministry of Ports, Shipping and Waterways, was also launched. It is a comprehensive roadmap to transform India's maritime sector with an estimated investment of rupees 80 trillion. About Maritime Amrit Kal Vision 2047, it outlines strategic initiatives spread across 7 overreaching themes to transform India's maritime sector. These themes include sustainable and green maritime sector, aims at making all 14 major ports carbon neutral, embracing green fuel and making India an hub for hydrogen production and distribution. Then we have encouragement to adoption of multi-fuel engine with the alternative fuels. Then an inland vessel green transition program will be launched. Three ports to set up the green hydrogen bunkers: Paradip Port, Odisha; Deen Dayal Port, Gujarat; and Vio Chidambaram Port, Tamil Nadu. Then we have port modernization, transforming ports into smart, automated, and ports of the future through enhanced operational agility, accelerated digitalization, and it also aims at placing India's ports among world's top 25 ports. Global player in shipbuilding: act as a global player in shipbuilding, repair and recycling to attain a spot in top 5 global shipbuilding centers, improving India's tonnage, quadruple port capacity to reach 10,000 million tons, port capacity with 100% public-private partnership model at major ports, ocean, coastal and river cruise sector, making India a leader in cruise tourism in the Asia-Pacific region, and develop 25 cruise terminals, enhance logistics, enhance model share of coastal shipping aid, and inland waterways from 6% to 12% through infrastructural and policy reforms. Government aims to increase operational waterways more than twofold. Also, coastal cargo traffic has doubled in the last decade, and cargo handling of national waterways grew by 4 times. Offer maritime professional services through enhancing competitiveness in maritime law, finance, and insurance sector, and ensuring compliance with international standards and best practices. World-class education, research, and training, maritime cluster development to optimize the entire supply chain, thereby elevating economic productivity by enhancing effectiveness and efficiency of logistics sector. Also, global maritime presence push to international corridors such as India Middle East Europe corridor will integrate various regional projects and link maritime activities, creating robust supply chain networks. Then India will drive the establishment of a 5,000 kilometer multi-country waterway system known as Eastern Waterways Connectivity Transport Grid. Then here we have efficient enhancement achieved through establishing a technology-driven innovation ecosystem. Also here we should know that government is establishing digital center of excellence for maritime efficiency. Here are some other initiatives. We have Maritime India Vision 2030. Then we have program. We have Jal Marg Vikas project. We have landlord port model. We have development of coastal districts. We have promotion of lighthouse tourism. These are other initiatives to improve the maritime Indian maritime. Here about maritime sector in India. Maritime sector in India comprises ports, shipping, shipbuilding, and ship repair, and inland waters transport system. Ministry of Shipping is the nodal central agency administering the issues related to them. India has 13 major ports and about 200 minor ports along the coastline and islands. Major ports are the ports which are administered by the union government, while non-major ports are administered by the state governments. In the last decade, the capacity of India's major ports has doubled, and turnaround time for big vessels has came down to less than 24 hours as compared to 42 hours in 2014. These are few initiatives for improving maritime security. We are increasing India's Navy's capabilities through creation and acquisition of strategic assets and optimizing resources. Then we have security cooperation with littoral states through Indo-Pacific Partnership for Maritime Domain Awareness. We have Colombo Security Conclave, Indian Ocean Rim Association, and others. Then we have focus on research and technological advancement for maritime domain awareness and ocean surveillance. Then we have National Committee for Strengthening Maritime and Coastal Security. Now the National Pharmacy Commission Bill 2023. Here we could see that the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare sought public comments on draft National Pharmacy Commission Bill 2023. It aims to replace the Pharmacy Act 1948 and the existing Pharmacy Council of India with the National Pharmacy Commission. Pharmacy Act 1948 regulates the practice and profession of pharmacy. The legislation aims to promote national health goals, improve access to quality and affordable pharmaceutical education, increase the availability of high-quality pharmacy professionals, establish an effective grievance redressal mechanism for relevant matters, promote equitable health care by making pharmacy services accessible to all citizens, transparent assessment of pharmacy institutions, and facilitating the maintenance of a pharmacy register for India. Also encourage pharmacy professionals to adopt the latest pharmacy research, contribute to research, and uphold high ethical standards. About pharmacy sector of India, we have third largest in the world in terms of volume, accounts for about 60% of the global vaccine production. 70% of WHO's vaccines, that is diphtheria, DPT, and BCGs, are sourced from India. About DPT, we should know it is diphtheria pertussis uh, pertussis, tetanus, and basilicalmate urine, something like that, very scientific in nature. Then major segments of the Indian pharmaceutical industry: we have generic drugs, we have vaccine, we have bulk drugs, we have over-the-counter medicines, we have biosimilars and biologics, then we have contract research and manufacturing. Here are the key provisions of the draft National Pharmacy Commission Bill 2023 about appointment. Central government shall establish the NPC with its head office in New Delhi on the recommendation of Search Cum Selection Committee. Composition of NPC, condition and terms of office of members and removal about composition, chairperson and 13 ex-officio members and 14 part-time members. About chairperson shall be appointed by the central government based on a set of qualifications, including that he or be a registered pharmacist, his proven has proven administrative capacity and experience of not less than 10 years, among others. Then conditions and terms of office: members will hold office for a term not exceeding 4 years or 65 years of age from the date on which they enter upon their office, and shall not be eligible for any extension or reappointment for the same post or equivalent post. However, they shall be eligible for appointment to a higher post after a cooling off period of at least 6 months. About removal, it is done by the central government by order if the member has been adjudged insolvent, has been convicted of an offence, or has become physically or mentally incapable, among others. Then functions of the commission are frame policies and regulate standards for governance of pharmacy education and training, exercise appellate jurisdiction with respect to the decisions of the board, provide basic standards of education, physical and infrastructure facilities, research, maximum tuition fee payable and others. Then collaborate with industry and other institutions for the use of cutting edge technology and hybrid education to drive innovation and research in the pharmacy field. Then in Search Cum Selection Committee, we have composition of the Search Cum Selection Committee. Here we have chairperson, the secretary, Minister of Home and Financial Family Welfare. Then we have members nominated by the central government. We have three pharmacy experts with the qualification and experience of not less than 20 years in pharmacy education. We have one person possessing outstanding qualification and experience of not less than 20 years in management or law or economics or science and technology. Three boards: we have appointment of board. Central government shall constitute three boards functioning under NPC, namely Pharmacy Education Board to maintain every pharmacy qualification granted by any university or pharmacy institution in India. Then we have Pharmacy Assessment and Rating Board, establishment of new pharmacy institutions or courses prohibited without prior permission from this board. Then we have Pharmacy Ethics and Registration Board to maintain a national pharmacy registrar containing details of pharmacy professionals, ensuring transparency. Then composition of the board: each board shall not have more than two full-time members and two part-time members other than a president. The term of office and conditions of service of president and members: tenure of for president and full-time members will be 4 years and shall not be eligible for any extension or reappointment or on same equivalent post. However, they shall be eligible to be considered for the post of chairperson of commission after a cooling off period of 6 months. Tenure for part-time members will be 2 years and shall not be eligible for any extension or reappointment in board of commission. What Pharmacy Advisory Council appointment constituted by central government to advise commission on measures to enhance equitable access to pharmacy education, training and research. About National Pharmacy Commission Fund, a fund will be constituted which shall form the part of public account of India. Fund shall be applied for making payment towards salaries and allowances payable to chairperson, secretary and members of commission, presidents and members of boards, and administrative expenses. So this was about the today's discussion. I hope you liked the information here. There were few slides which I forgot to correct them. I'm sorry for that. you know I hope today's lecture would help you in somehow. I won't call it a lecture, I would call it a delivery, information delivery forum. So I hope you could get any information, you were able to get the information which is needed. I hope these videos would help you, and best of luck to you guys. Stay blessed, and be calm. Everything will be fine at the end. It is a Bollywood movie. At the end everything gets well. Thanks for staying with me. If you stayed, if you did not stay, then again, please stay with me. Subscribe to my channel. It would help you guys. Trust me, it would help you. If not today, because myself know that I'm not teaching here. I'm not giving any lecture. What I call it, it is the I'm sharing the information on this forum. So it is just sharing the information going on here. But from 1st July, the proper classes will take on. The medium would be either Hindi, most probably it would be Hindi, or it would be English, or mixed. It depends upon the response from you guys, and you would enjoy it. Trust me, and that would be very much beneficial. At least from 1st July till 1st April, I would say we'll at least complete 1 to 2,000 questions in QR session only, in what we call it quiz session only. Then daily news analysis, and I would try to complete at least polity and governance, international affairs, economics, history, all three parts, and ecology and environment, science and tech. These 6 subjects, I would try to complete it in any way before the month of May 2020, before the month of April, in fact, 2025. So I would make you well prepared for the next year's prelims, and for CSET. If you want, if you want me to cover CSET also, so I can do that here. If it depends upon you, it will depend upon your response only. So please stay with me. Thanks for everything. Thank you very much.